Hello and welcome to this edition of News Today. Without delay, let's have a look at the headlines first. The Ministry of Home Affairs asks states to conduct mock drills to evaluate civil defence preparedness. Punjab government moved resolution about additional water to Haryana in the State Assembly. In a historic first, Supreme Court publishes declaration of judges' assets on website. Amid global economic slowdown, India achieved highest ever exports in financial year 2024-25. Share of gold in India's Forex Reserves has doubled in last 4 years. Northeast's first geothermal production well successfully drilled. In a significant step towards strengthening national security and emergency preparedness, the Ministry of Home Affairs has directed all states to conduct mock drills aimed at evaluating civil defence readiness. These exercises will be carried out across 244 categorized civil defence districts, regions identified as tactically and strategically vulnerable in the event of enemy attacks. Now, what does this civil defence exercise actually involve? This is essentially a preparedness drill designed to test how both civilians and government systems would react during high-risk emergencies such as war, missile attacks, aerial strikes, or other large-scale disasters. It serves as a platform to assess the operational efficiency and coordination of various civil defense mechanisms. Among the key components being evaluated are the functionality of air raid warning systems and the operational readiness of hotline and radio communication links with the Indian Air Force. Equally important is the testing of control room efficiency to ensure swift decision-making under pressure. Alongside this, the exercise will focus on the training of civilians and students, equipping them with the knowledge to protect themselves during hostile situations. It will also test the early camouflaging capabilities of vital installations, while simultaneously updating and rehearsing evacuation plans to enhance response times and minimize risks. To put this in perspective, the last such civil defense drill was conducted in the lead-up to the 1971 war between India and Pakistan, underscoring how rare and vital such initiatives are. Turning now to the legal basis of this operation. The Civil Defence Act of 1968 provides the statutory framework. This act, introduced after the India-China War in 1962 and the India-Pakistan War in 1965, mandates protective measures for people, property and infrastructure against any form of hostile attack, be it from the air, land, sea or elsewhere. Moreover, the Act empowers the government to raise a civil defence corps and formulate the necessary rules and regulations to ensure effective civil defence implementation. All in all, this nationwide drills marks a proactive move by the MHA to ensure that both administrative systems and citizens are ready to respond should the need ever arise. Next, we look at a major development from Punjab. The Punjab government has moved a resolution in the State Assembly opposing the release of additional water to Haryana. This move comes after the Bhakra Bias Management Board or BBMB ordered the release of an additional 4,500 cusecs of water to Haryana, a decision that has sparked strong objections from Punjab. Now, let's take a quick look at the Bhakra Bias Management Board itself. The BBMB, formerly known as the Bhakra Management Board, was established under Section 79 of the Punjab Reorganisation Act 1966. Its primary responsibilities include the administration, operation and maintenance of major projects, namely the Bhakra Nangal Project, Bias Project Unit First, also known as the Bias Satluj Link Project, and Bias Project Unit Second or the Pong Dam. Moreover, the BBMB regulates the supply of both water and power from these projects to several states, including Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan, Himachal Pradesh, Delhi and Chandigarh. So, how is water regulation managed in our country? Let's take a look at the framework in place. Under the constitutional structure, Entry 17 of the state list empowers states to handle matters related to water supply, irrigation, canals, drainage and similar areas. On the other hand, Entry 56 of the Union list allows the Union government to regulate and develop interstate rivers and river valleys. Adding to this, Article 262 of the Constitution provides that Parliament can make laws for resolving disputes concerning interstate river waters. And when it comes to parliamentary enactments, we have the River Board Act of 1956, which enables the central government to establish river boards by notification. These boards advise states on the regulation and development of interstate rivers or valleys. Additionally, the Interstate Water Disputes Act of 1956 empowers the central government to set up a water disputes tribunal if the matter cannot be resolved through negotiation. In a historic first, the Supreme Court of India has taken a major step toward transparency, publishing the declaration of judges' assets on its official website. Let's walk through what this means. As of April 1, 2025, the full court of the Supreme Court resolved that judges must declare their assets upon assuming office and also whenever they acquire anything of a substantial nature, submitting this declaration to the Chief Justice of India. But here's the context. Judges are not legally required to publicly declare their assets, unlike public servants and elected representatives. Still, back in 1997, the Supreme Court adopted a resolution stating that judges should declare all assets, including those of their spouses and dependents, to the CJI. Then in 2009, the court took another step, resolving to voluntarily publish judges' asset declarations on its website. The current decision builds on this history and makes it mandatory, reinforcing judicial accountability and transparency. Now, this move is a direct reiteration of the 1997 Restatement of Values of Judicial Life, a code adopted by the Supreme Court. This restatement lays down certain judicial standards and principles to be observed and followed by the judges of the Supreme Court and High Courts. The 1997 Restatement of Values of Judicial Life outlines key ethical standards that judges are expected to uphold. It emphasizes that judges must avoid any actions that could erode public faith in the higher judiciary. They should not hear or decide cases involving family members or friends, nor should they publicly express opinions on political matters that may come up for judicial determination. Additionally, judges must refrain from accepting gifts or hospitality from anyone other than close family and friends. They are also prohibited from engaging in any trade or business and must not seek any financial benefit connected to their office unless such benefits are clearly available by rule. This landmark decision is not just a policy change, it's a strong message about upholding integrity in the judiciary. In a remarkable achievement, despite facing a global economic slowdown, India has recorded its highest ever exports in the financial year 2024-25. Now, let's take a look at the numbers. According to data released by the Reserve Bank of India, the country's total exports, comprising both merchandise and services, have reached a record $824.9 billion, marking a 6.01% increase from $778.1 billion in 2023-24. And this growth has not come easy. India has managed this feat despite significant global headwinds, including trade disruptions caused by the Red Sea crisis, the ongoing war in Ukraine, a severe drought in the Panama Canal, a rise in non-tariff measures, and soaring energy prices. Let's now break down the export performance into two key sectors: merchandise and services. Starting with merchandise exports, they saw a marginal increase to $437.4 billion, up from $437.1 billion in 2023-24. On the other hand, services exports hit a historic high, reaching $387.5 billion in 2024-25, a 13.6% jump from $341.1 billion the previous year. Now, if we turn to India's total export value over the past decade, after a decline around 2015-16, exports gradually recovered, with noticeable growth by 2018-19. Although there was a slight dip again in 2020-21, likely due to global disruptions, the trend sharply reversed in 2021-22. From that point on, India's export performance showed significant momentum, reaching its highest level in 2024-25. This upward trajectory in recent years highlights India's strengthening position in global trades. So what is driving this export momentum amid such a challenging global scenario? Several key factors have contributed. First, a strong policy push. The government has actively promoted exports through the new foreign trade policy, sector-specific schemes, trade facilitation, the Districts as Export Hubs initiative, and MSME support. Next, India's diversification of export markets played a crucial role. Increased demand from Southeast Asia, Africa, and Latin America helped offset the global slowdown. Moving forward, trade agreements. New bilateral and multilateral deals, such as like the India-UAE Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement or CEPA, have also significantly boosted exports, especially in services and electronics, by opening up new markets and reducing trade barriers. And finally, a major shift in global trade dynamics. Supply chain realignment has worked in India's favor. As global companies implement China Plus One strategies, India is emerging as a reliable alternative. Clearly, a combination of resilient policy measures, market strategy, and global repositioning has helped India not just weather the storm, but thrive amid global turbulence. In a significant financial shift, the share of gold in India's foreign exchange reserves has doubled in the last 4 years, aligning with a global trend of central banks increasing their gold holdings. Let's look at the numbers first. The Reserve Bank of India has increased its gold holdings to 11.70% of the total Forex Reserves, which now includes 879.59 metric tons of gold. To understand the full picture, we need to examine what makes up India's gross foreign exchange reserves. These comprise foreign currency assets of the Reserve Bank, gold held by the RBI, special drawing rights, and the reserve position in the International Monetary Fund. However, it's important to note that some countries do not count the reserve position in the IMF as part of foreign exchange reserves, as it may not be available on immediate demand. Now, let's take a step back and understand why are central banks across the globe stocking up on gold. First, it's about diversifying away from the US dollar. Central banks are diversifying their reserves away from the dollar to reduce their exposure to potential dollar devaluation. Second, gold serves as an effective hedge against inflation. With global inflation rates on the rise, gold acts as a hedge against the eroding purchasing power of countries' currencies. And third, in the face of mounting geopolitical risks, gold is seen as a safer alternative. Tensions among global powers like the US, China, and Russia have led to uncertainty, making gold more secure compared to fiat currencies or government bonds. And just a quick reminder, fiat currency refers to the government issued money that is not backed by a physical commodity such as gold or silver. But it's not all upside. There are also risks associated with storing gold. For one, liquidity and flexibility are reduced. Converting large gold holdings to cash during urgent needs is slower and costlier than liquidating foreign currency assets. Second, gold has zero yield. It doesn't pay interest or dividends, unlike bonds or currency deposits. And finally, there are high costs for storage and security. Physical gold demands secure storage, often in domestic or overseas vaults, for example, Bank of England, increasing cost for storage, insurance, and transportation. So, while gold is becoming a preferred safety net globally, it comes with its own set of challenges. In a major scientific breakthrough for the Northeast, the region's first geothermal production well has been successfully drilled. This significant milestone has been achieved at Dirang in Arunachal Pradesh, and the drilling was carried out by the Center for Earth Sciences and Himalayan Studies or CESHS. What makes this project even more noteworthy is the international scientific collaboration behind it. The project brought together expertise from the Norwegian Geotechnical Institute in Oslo, Icelandic geothermal firm Geotrophy F, and a local drilling team from Guwahati Boring Service. Let's now take a moment to understand what exactly is geothermal energy. The term itself combines geo, meaning earth, and thermal, meaning heat. Geothermal technology extracts this energy or heat for direct heating and cooling or converts it to electricity. This internal heat or thermal energy is generated from radioactive decay and continual heat loss from Earth's formation. Moving on, geothermal energy comes with its set of advantages. It's a clean, renewable, and inexpensive energy source with the ability to operate year-round. However, there are challenges as well. These include the risk of land subsidence, high energy transportation cost, and the potential release of toxic chemicals during drilling. Now, what steps has India taken to promote geothermal energy? One key initiative is the Geothermal Atlas of India 2022, published by the Geological Survey of India. This atlas identifies potential geothermal sites across the country. In addition, the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy has launched the Renewable Energy Research and Technology Development Program, or RERTD, to promote indigenous R&D in cost-effective renewable energy, including geothermal. And on the implementation front, the Singareni Collieries Company Limited, or SCCL, has already commissioned a 20 kilowatt pilot geothermal power plant in the Manuguru area of Bhadradi Kothagudem district in Telangana. The major geothermal provinces and spots across India include the NWSE Himalayan Arc, which covers regions such as Bhuga and Manikaran. And the Gondwana Grabans and Delhi Fold Belt include locations like Suhana near Delhi. The West Coast continental margin encompasses areas like Tuba, Unai, Dholera, Tulsi, Sham, Ganeshpuri, and Rajapur. Another significant geothermal region is the San Narmada Tapti or Sonata lineament zone, which includes sites like Tattapani, Surajkund, Bakreshwar, Godavari Basin, Rugha, Bhutaya Gudena, and Salbardi. Clearly, with successful projects like the one in Dirang, geothermal energy is stepping into the spotlight as a promising addition to India's renewable energy portfolio. As we conclude today's main news, let's have a look at some quick updates. The committee to recommend the name of the new CBI director failed to reach consensus. As per the Delhi Special Police Establishment Act of 1946, the CBI director is appointed by the central government on the recommendation of a 3-member committee. Indian security forces launches Operation Shiva to guard Amarnath Yatra. This is amid the backdrop of Pahalgam terror attack and tensions between India and Pakistan. Sri Amarnath Ji is located in Anantnag district at 13,000 feet. Amarnath cave houses the ice lingam, the phallic symbol of Lord Shiva. The Ministry of Culture takes steps to halt the auction of Pipirava relics by the Sotheby's, Hong Kong. Pipirava relics were excavated in 1898 by William Claxton Pepe from the Pipirava Stupa, ancient Kapilavastu, the birthplace of Lord Buddha. The Appointments Committee of the Cabinet has appointed Parameshwaran Iyer as the new Executive Director, representing India at IMF's Executive Board. The Executive Board, the board, is responsible for conducting the day-to-day business for IMF. The Ministry of Tourism and Culture aims to elevate at least 10 Indian cities into the world's top meetings, incentives, conferences and exhibitions, or MICE destinations. India is emerging as a global MICE powerhouse, which generated USD 49.4 billion in 2024. Traditional Nilgiri Tahar habitats in Coimbatore Forest Division show signs of population revival, according to synchronized census in Tamil Nadu and Kerala. Nilgiri Tahar, endemic to Western Ghats, is the only mountain ungulate in southern India among the 12 species present in India. Airglow has been captured above La Silla Observatory in Chile's Atacama Desert. Airglow occurs when atoms and molecules in the upper atmosphere, excited by ultraviolet ray from the sun, emit light in order to shed their excess energy. Faroe Islands Space Program's initiative is harnessing the gravitational pull of Moon to generate electricity through Luna 12. Luna 12 is a tidal kite that captures underwater currents off the Faroe Island coast, converting them into renewable power. The Anusandhan National Research Foundation announced the selection of 7 e-nodes for support under its Maha-EV mission. Each selected electric mobility node will execute the project in consortium mode involving academic institutions, R&D laboratories with the mandatory industry participation. Before we sign off, let's challenge your understanding in today's installment of Test Your Learning. Thank you for joining us. We hope you found this episode of News Today engaging. For the solutions to the quiz and to access the PDF version of News Today, remember to visit the provided links in the description below.